I'm Lee Quarrie. I was the director of the first film you saw, Second Chance. I also wrote it. And this is Drea. She was the producer of the film. And before I go on, I just want to tell you, thank you. Stop. I just wanted to say, I am floored by the quality of the films we saw today. I've been to a lot of film festivals, and I never have been to a film festival that have had such high quality production value, high quality stories, and I am so honored to be a part of it. Thank you so much for allowing my film to be shown here.
Like Lee said, I'm Andrea Magwood, the producer of Second Chance, which was a wonderful production to work on, and I concur what Lee said about the quality of movies we saw today. I am amazed at the quality of these movies. Thank you.
How could I top that? This is Don Bapst, and I did Modeled, which is the one about the artist who is painting his models. And also very honored to be here. Thanks.
Any questions? Back there.
Those movies were great, and now I want to know how I can watch them again or show them to my friends. Is there any way?
I can tell you how you can see ours, but I don't want to plug another film festival here. It's on another film festival's site, so. If you give me a card, I can email you a link to it on Vimeo, okay?
Mine is currently on IndieFlix, and it's eventually I'll be putting it on a website where it can be viewed for free, but right now it's still doing this festival circuit, so a lot of festivals, a lot of people who don't make movies might not know this, but you know, festivals like to see things exclusively at their festivals first, and then eventually you put them online if that becomes an option. So you kind of have that spot where you try to keep it off of the internet for a while.
Any other questions? It's Wayne. Hi.
Both your films are fascinating. Thank you. For Modeled, I think you're the narrator, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
You said that fisting turns it into something beautiful. Did you mean that literally, like it's beautiful, or beautiful in the sense of maybe liberating?
Well, I mean, I deliberately wrote the monologue in a way that it would be sort of like a folktale, so that it really is up to you to kind of interpret it. 'Cause there's a lot of different opinions on that, and I didn't want to have a definitive answer on that. I wanted it to sort of spark some thought, and I don't actually mention fisting specifically. I kind of allude to it, and I sort of allude to what happened to the character in that story. But it is based on a true story of somebody who did have an incident where he was penetrated and had the lining of his intestines perforated, and then had to go through major surgery to survive, and then lives to this day with complications as a result of that.
Thank you.
I just wanted to thank you all for the shows. They were fantastic. But I talked to you guys last night, and tell them about how long it took you to do that show.
Sure. We made Second Chance in 24 hours. So it was for a 24-hour film festival. So it was a long day, but that was the end result. And I would like to say, too, that and I don't mean this in a derogatory towards myself sense at all, but of all the films that we saw, I think ours was probably one of the lowest quality productions that was up there. So I think that says something about the value of pre-production and planning. And it was clear that Mr. Bapst's film was very well thought out and very well executed, and a lot of the other films that were up there too. It takes weeks and weeks and weeks to make a high quality film. We got very lucky with the crew that we had on our 24-hour challenge and Drea's leadership as the producer. We wouldn't have been able to come up with the high quality that we did get out of that 24-hour project without having really talented and skilled people on board. And I know a lot of people get a camera and start practicing making films, and that's the way you start nowadays. That's the democratization of film. But there is a great value, and you saw it here today, there's great value in having the skill and then putting the time into it and creating your art. I was amazed today, just amazed and floored by everything that I saw, and it really inspired me as a filmmaker to want to go beyond the 24 and 48-hour film challenges and do my own work in a true fashion and do it over a timeline instead of crunching it all into a weekend.
Isn't that a annual competition or something where they have the 24-hour? I think I've read about that.
Yeah, they have a few competitions in the Valley. If anybody's interested in finding out about them, I can talk about it later, but I really don't feel right about plugging another film festival here. I think you guys are doing such a great job, and I want to encourage people to come to this because it's such a high quality show.
I just wanted to add to that. I was really impressed with your film in terms of, you were talking about production value. So for something made in 24 hours, you wouldn't know that it was made in that short of a time. So that looked great. And as far as the production values, and it's interesting because with the technology that we have now, it's such a crazy changed environment making a film. You can make one in 24 hours that looks great, or you could spend years planning something and it could look really terrible. And and the technology is making it kind of overwhelming because you have so many choices and my film, I used 2 different high definition cameras, but then I also shot in Super 8 and in 16 millimeter. So I had all 4 different film looks being put together in the same thing. Each one of those films or formats has a different look and feel, and it was meant to evoke a different part of the story. But shooting on film now is, in some ways, it's more complicated. But in some ways, the digital environment is more complicated because you have to deliver the thing afterwards. So you have to decide which codec you're going to format it into, and is it going to be H.264, or is it going to be this or that? And every festival has a different deliverable, and there's like an overwhelming amount of stuff that you have to deal with as a filmmaker, and it seems to get more complicated as the technology gets more accessible. So there's this kind of what can I say, like this illusion that things are easier because of digital, but it almost makes you want to go back to shooting on film and just like then whatever's in the can and got exposed properly, you're stuck with that and you have to cut a film out of it as opposed to tweaking it endlessly as you can with digital. So
I just wanted to add to that too, that the richness and the quality that you get from shooting on film versus shooting digital can vary drastically depending on the technology that you're using. The very first film I ever shot was a 16 millimeter, and visually it compares to the one that you saw today with ours, but I still think it's a richer quality film, and I really value the depth of field that you get with film versus digital. But like you said, everything's changing and it's constantly changing, the age of technology.
Thank you for coming here. Your 2 films were really among my favorite of this. And such very different ends of the spectrum. For the ladies,
let's stay out of the binary.
and I don't mean to perpetuate a stereotype or anything. Why did you make a film about gay men?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Oh, you did.
Okay, so I'm going through a divorce right now, and I figured that if I made a movie about a woman getting a divorce, that it would just be like, Lee, why are you telling your life story? So I happen to have two of the most talented actors in Phoenix on board for this film, so I decided, well, I've got Kevin, who is the lead, and Jim Coates, who's the delivery man, and then Jonathan Medina, who played the husband that was errant. And I just thought, you know, I've got these three guys, we can make a story about these three men, and I still get to bash my husband. Any other questions?
Hello. I love the images on your piece. Very powerful, unsettling, very moving. I'd love to know more about the technology. Are you giving any workshops?
I would love to give a workshop, actually. I would love to. I just moved here. I was in Los Angeles most recently. I was in Toronto when I shot that, but I live in Phoenix now. And if you have any ideas for who would be receptive to, creating such an opportunity, that would be great.
That's great.
Thanks so much for having us.